Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us here on KTN News Desk on this 23rd day of May 2017. Always a pleasure to have you tuned in here. All right, we start off with that meeting between the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, who met presidential candidates to inform them on what exactly is expected of them. Speaking during the occasion, IEBC Chairperson Wafula Chebukati pledged that the commission will hold free and fair elections. Let's listen in to what Chebukati said.
Sorry?
Repeat the dimensions.
The dimensions are 1028 times 768 pixels. The aspect ratio of the camera should be 4:3. The photo must be of portrait orientation. So I really need to emphasize this because we have already seen some of the pictures, and we just want to be sure that you send what is accurate, what is required, so that we don't send you back. I think that is. Immaculate reminds me that the presentation will be shared so that you have all the information, so that you read and you know exactly what you are required to have, so that ukija KICC tarehe 28 ama tarehe 29 tusije tukakurudisha. I think there's one more point that I really need to emphasize here today. On Chapter 6, I will emphasize it again here. The chairman has set up a committee, and Chapter 6 Integrity Committee, that brings together various actors, that brings together the EACC, the Commission on Higher Education, that brings together those who are charged with the responsibility of checking on your bankruptcy status, those that have been given the responsibility of checking whether you're of sane mind. I don't know whether they are part of it. But we don't want this to come as a surprise to anybody, that we will be looking at all these qualifications and that you are still aspirants until the time that you are declared candidates. And that all these provisions that are there in the Constitution, we'll be looking at them very carefully. We will be looking at your signatures very, very carefully to make sure that they meet the requirements of the law. And we'll be looking at all the documents, including university degrees that are required for aspirants and their deputies, so that we make sure that we are meeting the expectations of our Constitution and our laws. With that, I thank you very much and hand back the mic to our deputy. I'm going to forget and say this. I always call our deputy cabinet secretary because I can't pronounce the other term that is very complicated. So I'm handing over to our deputy cabinet secretary to take you through the next stages. Thank you very much.
Yeah, good morning. Our chairman, Wafula Chebukati, the commissioner present, directors from the commission and officers, our esteemed guests, aspirants, either sponsored by a political party or independents. We are very happy to have you here, whether you're here in person or you're having your representatives, and therefore, I'm here to take us through nomination day activities. We all know we are here because of
the IEBC there in a meeting with presidential aspirants. Our senior reporter, Patrick Amimo, will be joining us later on with an update on some of the issues that were raised in that particular meeting by both the IEBC and the presidential aspirants. But let's quickly move to the UK, where Prime Minister Theresa May is currently giving an address on that attack at the Manchester Arena, where 22 people have so far been killed, more than 50 injured. Let's cross over there and listen in.
To hit the north of England. The police and security services are working at speed to establish the complete picture, but I want to tell you what I can at this stage. At 10:33 last night, the police were called to reports of an explosion at Manchester Arena in Manchester city centre near Victoria train station. We now know that a single terrorist detonated his improvised explosive device near one of the exits of the venue, deliberately choosing the time and place to cause maximum carnage and to kill and injure indiscriminately. The explosion coincided with the conclusion of a pop concert, which was attended by many young families and groups of children. All acts of terrorism are cowardly attacks on innocent people, but this attack stands out for its appalling, sickening cowardice, deliberately targeting innocent, defenseless children and young people who should have been enjoying one of the most memorable nights of their lives. As things stand, I can tell you that, in addition to the attacker, 22 people have died and 59 people have been injured. Those who were injured are being treated in 8 different hospitals across Greater Manchester. Many are being treated for life-threatening conditions. And we know that among those killed and injured were many children and young people. We struggle to comprehend the warped and twisted mind that sees a room packed with young children not as a scene to cherish, but as an opportunity for carnage. But we can continue to resolve to thwart such attacks in future, to take on and defeat the ideology that often fuels this violence, and if there turn out to be others responsible for this attack, to seek them out and bring them to justice. The police and security services believe that the attack was carried out by one man, but they now need to know whether he was acting alone or as part of a wider group. It will take some time to establish these facts, and the investigation will continue. The police and security services will be given all the resources they need to complete that task. The police and security services believe they know the identity of the perpetrator, but at this stage of their investigations, we cannot confirm his name. The police and emergency services have, as always, acted with great courage, and on behalf of the country, I want to express our gratitude to them. They acted in accordance with the plans they have in place and the exercises they conduct to test those plans, and they performed with the utmost professionalism. 400 police officers were involved in the operation through the night, and many paramedics, doctors and nurses have worked valiantly amid traumatic and terrible scenes to save lives and care for the wounded. Significant resources have been deployed to the police investigation, and there continue to be visible patrols around Manchester, which include the deployment of armed officers. For people who live and work in Manchester, there remains a large cordon in place around Manchester Arena and Victoria Station, which will be in place for some time. The station is closed and will remain closed while a detailed forensic search is underway. We know that many friends and relatives of people caught up in the attack are still trying to find out what has happened to their children, brothers and sisters, parents and loved ones. So please, think of those people who are experiencing unimaginable worry, and if you have any information at all relating to the attack, please contact Greater Manchester Police. The threat level remains at severe. That means that a terrorist attack remains highly likely. But the Independent Joint Terrorism Analysis Centre, which sets the threat level on the basis of the intelligence available to them, will continue to assess this throughout today and in the days ahead. Later today, I will travel to Manchester to meet the Chief Constable of Greater Manchester Police, Ian Hopkins, the Mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, and members of the emergency services who have come to Manchester's aid in its moment of need. And as I announced last night, the general election campaign has been suspended. I will chair another meeting of COBRA later today. At terrible moments like these, it is customary for leaders, politicians and others to condemn the perpetrators and declare that the terrorists will not win. But the fact that we have been here before, and the fact that we need to say this again, does not make it any less true. For as so often while we experienced the worst of humanity in Manchester last night, we also saw the best. The cowardice of the attacker met the bravery of the emergency services and the people of Manchester. The attempt to divide us met countless acts of kindness that brought people closer together. And in the days ahead, those must be the things we remember. The images we hold in our minds should not be those of senseless slaughter, but of the ordinary men and women who put concerns about their own safety to one side and rushed to help. Of the men and women of the emergency services who worked tirelessly to bring comfort, to help, and to save lives. Of the messages of solidarity and hope of all those who opened their homes to the victims. For they are the images that embody the spirit of Manchester and the spirit of Britain, a spirit that through years of conflict and terrorism has never been broken and will never be broken. There will be difficult days ahead. We offer our thoughts and prayers to the family and friends of those affected. We offer our full support to the authorities, the emergency and the security services as they go about their work. And we all, every single one of us, stand with the people of Manchester at this terrible time. And today, let us remember those who died, and let us celebrate those who helped, safe in the knowledge that the terrorists will never win, and our values, our country, and our way of life will always prevail.
Minister Theresa May there for the first time making an address after that terror attack at 10:30 p.m. local time, which is yesterday night, just after the conclusion of a concert by pop star Ariana Grande. Currently, the number stands at 22 people dead, 59 injured, high security alert in London. And of course, we continue to keep you up to speed with that. Campaigns have been suspended until things just get easier in London for those who have, after that particular terror attack and the meetings for security and the intelligence services ongoing. Let's just take a look at a story that we did just earlier on after that particular attack at the Manchester Arena.
We are currently treating this as a terrorist incident until we have further information.
According to witnesses, they had huge bangs near the ticket office of the arena following a pop concert by Ariana Grande, a US singer. Manchester Victoria Station, which is close to the concert venue, has been closed and all trains cancelled as a result of the incident. Greater Manchester Police earlier urged people to stay away from the area.
We are working closely with National Counter-Terrorism Policing Network and UK intelligence partners. This is clearly a very concerning time for everyone. We're doing all that we can, working with local and national agencies to support those affected as we gather information about what happened last night.
A mobile phone video showed commotion in the arena as people scampered for their safety. Manchester Arena, the largest indoor arena in Europe, opened in 1995 and has a capacity of 21,000 people. It is a popular concert and sporting venue. Britain is on its second highest alert level of severe, meaning an attack by militants is considered highly likely. The cause of the reported explosion remains unknown, with police using cautious language that could point to a possible terror attack. Kenaseka, KTN News.
Let's now take a short commercial break. Don't go too far. We still have a lot lined up for you here on KTN.